Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Jim Hopkins here, who's here on behalf of GRF with an update. Well, Jim, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Nice to have you in the studio. Do you feel like a celebrity?
Almost.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you for coming on in, and we appreciate that. So why don't you go ahead and just let us know what's going on with GRF?
Well, what I thought I would do today is normally when we do the budget, we look at millions of dollars, and sometimes that can be overwhelming to people when they see the millions of dollars. So today I thought I would break it down into a per man per month, or our assessment, and I think everybody will understand when you're talking about dollars and cents rather than millions of dollars and cents.
All right, that sounds great. That sounds good. Okay, so you have a couple of slides, so that's perfect.
The first chart shows our monthly fees. Shows that our monthly fees have been steady over the last 12 years, even dating back to before the PCM days, or during the PCM days. In fact, the 2022 rate is only $1.28 higher than the 2010 assessment. However, within those final assessment rates, there has been a lot of movement. So don't let the comparison of 2010 to 2022 fool you. First, it's important to know that our rate has four major components. First are the income fees, such as broadband, golf, clubhouse rentals, equestrian, etc. Second, we have our operating fund, and that's by far the largest. And thirdly is the contingency fund. And that's used to make sure that over time, when we have surprises, we don't run out of money or out of funding. And then last, and certainly not least, is our reserve fund, which is how we preserve our future.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
The next chart shows that the direction of those funds over a period of time. This first chart on the left shows the reserve funding via assessments has steadily declined over the last 10 years. In 2012, we introduced the trust facilities fee as an additional funding source for the reserves. That is the one-time fee paid by the purchaser of a manor. In 2014, 2019, and 2022, we increased that fee to match those same fees paid by similar Rossmore facilities at Seal Beach and Walnut Creek. The result has been that our reserve assessment portion has gone from $34 per manor per month in 2010 to its current $19 in 2021.
Wow.
All right. The second chart, or the middle chart, shows the operating and contingency assessments combined. It shows a steady annual increase from 2011 to 2015 until we moved from PCM and became self-managed using VMS as our managing agent. The steep decline in assessments came from not only the current year's savings as a result of that efficiency, but a surplus recovery of $11.78 per manor per month each year in 2016 and 2017. Of course, that further reduced our assessment. Now, the last chart shows the impact of those dynamics on our total GRF assessment. By moving to self-management via VMS and adding trust facility fees to assist funding of the reserves, GRF has managed to keep the GRF assessment rather flat, even though prices and costs on the outside have steadily risen over the last 12 years. In fact, the 2022 GRF assessment is about the same as the 2010 and 2015 assessments, and less than the 2014 assessment.
That seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it's amazing to when you look at the history, it's amazing to see that.
Yeah.
And as you will see from the chart, the current trend does not support lower assessments, even though we have had circumstances and opportunities in the past that benefited us. Now let's bring it up to date and look at 2022. In 2022, we are expecting a $5.77 benefit in revenue than 2021, primarily due to the increased post-pandemic activities. Also, some fees have increased to support the increased cost. We're also planning for an increase in expenses of $22.67 to support the post-pandemic activities, as well as increased labor costs, as the minimum wage has increased almost 50% over the last 5 years. And of course, everyone by now has heard about the significant increase in insurance over the last 2 years. The good news is that as a result of the closing of facilities and other limitations on activities during the pandemic, GRF can return $8 per man per month in prior period savings. As a result of the increase in the trust facility fee, we were able to reduce the reserve assessment by $2 in 2022. This is offset by an increase in our contingency fund assessment, as we had to use that fund to support the 2020 and 2021 increase in insurance and avoid a last-minute assessment increase in 2021. This contingency fund was not replenished last year and requires funding in 2022. Now, just another look at the 2022 increase without the clutter. The net operating assessment is up by $8.90. The net contingency and reserve fund assessment is increased by $3. The next chart breaks down the $16.90 at the top line in broad strokes. The change in the operating plan for 2022 is $16.90.
And that's broken down in insurance, information services, and recreational services, right?
That's right. And as you'll see, the insurance is almost 55% of the total increase. And of course, that's the largest influencer. Information services is about 19% of the increase, as technology and our malware experience has moved us to change the way we operate. This means that over time, as we shift to cloud-based services, our spending pattern will shift from reserve expenditures for equipment and install software to operating expense for cloud-based software services and storage.
Okay.
And so there it is, a 5.8% increase in GRF portion of our assessments in 2022. GRF and VMS continue to explore avenues to reduce costs and increase efficiency. But this brief journey to the recent assessment history has been an eye-opener as to why the GRF portion of our assessment has remained consistent. There is a lot more to our final assessment number than we've seen over the past 12 years. So it's interesting to understand and very important to understand the history. The trend is for an upward pattern for our expenses.
Right.
The opportunities such as the VMS, self-management, and the transfer facility fees, most of those big opportunities are gone. So now our fees are going to be moving in the direction of cost.
Right.
And we do have some plans to gain some efficiency. We're planning an ERP system, which is an enterprise resource planning system. Most people would call it the computer system. We're looking at that to really increase our administrative and operational efficiency. But of course, that's going to take a couple of years to install, and even more years to actually gain the total efficiency from that.
Right.
But we're looking forward to that.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for the update. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll be right back after this.